from minus 128 to plus 127. Okay. The overflow flag is set after the addition or subtraction operation, that is signed bit addition and subtraction operation, if the result in the accumulator is outside the signed 8-bit range, that is minus 128 to plus 120, minus 128 to plus 127, that case your overflow flag will be set. Okay. So handling capacity of capability of 8051 is 0 to 255. So that is divided into a positive range and negative range. Positive range is from 0 to plus 127, negative from minus 128 to 0. So when the D7 bit is 1, the particular number is identified as a negative number, otherwise a positive number. Okay. And also I have explained this overflow flag rules. The main rule is after the addition or subtraction, if there is a carry from D6 to D7 and no carry from out of D7, that situation your overflow flag is set to 1. And another possibility is that if there is a carry from D7 but no carry from D6 to D7, so that scenario your overflow flag set to 1. And also we have discussed 2 examples involved in signed addition and also signed subtraction. So have you completed this problem? So what is the answer for the second problem? Overflow flag status and carry flag status. Please tell me. So what is the answer for your second problem? Roll number 41. Okay, ma. I will give attendance. So what is the answer for second one? Students, please respond.
Both are 0, ma'am.
Huh?
Carry flag is 1.
Actually, minus 61 minus of minus 16. Okay. So the answer is within the range. So what about your overflow flag status?
0.
0.
0. And what about carry? 61 plus 116. So there is a no possibility of, there is no chance of carry flag here, carry flag occurrence here. So the second problem, your overflow, carry, both are resetted. Please note down the answer. Your overflow status 0 and carry flag status 0. Third one, minus 99 minus of plus 100. Okay. So minus 99 minus of 100. So that is the problem. Okay. This number is the positive number and this is your negative number. So minus 99 is a signed negative number. So the equivalent hexadecimal for the signed number is 90. Okay. And for 100 is a positive number. The hexadecimal equivalent is 64. So during the subtraction, you have to take, that is the given problem is 90 minus 64. Okay. Hexadecimal, hexadecimal. So what operation to be carried out here? In case of signed subtraction, you have to take 2's complement of 64 and that should be added to your 90. Please find out the answer. So third problem, both the signs are same. That is minus 99 minus 100. That is minus of plus 100. So find out, is there possibility of, that is a chance of overflow. Whether your answer exceed the limit or not. Please find out. So 9D minus 64. So here you have to take 2's complement of 64. That answer should be added to the 9D and find out the overflow flat status, whether the answer is within the range or out of range. To find out the answer, so what is the answer for 2's complement of 64? What is the answer? Please, students, put your answers in the chat box. So what is the answer for 2's complement of 64? So first you write it in binary and take 1's complement and add 1 with the 1's complement. What is the answer?
Zero one one zero 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 one.
Put it in the chat box, ma. First, find the 2's complement value. So first you find out the 2's complement value of 64. Add that value into 90. So what is the 2's complement of 64? Please put it in the chat box. One zero zero one 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 zero. Please note it down. This is the 2's complement of your 64. Okay. So add this 1001 110 with 9D. Find out the answer.
Ma'am, we have to take the 2's complement form of 99.
No. First, you take 2's complement form of 64, add that value with 90. So first, actually, for minus 99, already I have given the value, 2's complement form value.
Okay.
So this is the 90 is the 2's complement form of 99. So this is the hexadecimal representation of this negative number. Okay. So you have to add this 2's complement of 64 with 90. That's all. Find out the answer. Students, you are taking so much of time for this simple problem. What is the answer? 00111001. 38. 38 is the answer. Okay. 90 plus 2's complement. Ready? 1001. So this is not a right answer. 205. Please check your answer. This is the correct one. 00111001. 38. You are supposed to get 38 after your subtraction. One 10011011. This is the 1's complement of your 64. Okay. After adding 1, so what is the answer? One 1001. So this is the 2's complement representation of your 64. Is that right? Next, you have to add this 64, that is 2's complement representation of 64 with 9D, okay? So what is the answer? 0, 0, 0, 1, 1, 1, 0, 0, you will carry a set. So what is the final answer? Final answer is 38. 38, okay? So the decimal equivalent for 38 is 56, but we are supposed to get this minus 99. So this case, there is a chance of overflow to indicate that your answer is exceeded. So we need to adjust the value. Is that clear? Is that clear, students? So the answer is 38. Decimal equivalent of this 38 is 56, but we are supposed to get this minus 99. So this minus 99 is not within the today's lab class, okay? Is that clear? Students?
Yes, ma'am.
Students, please respond. Any clarification regarding your overflow flags?
Ma'am,
Okay.
excuse me, ma'am.
Yes.
Ma'am, in the previous
Yes,
problem,
yes.
why was the carry flag reset, ma'am?
Previous one means
Uh,
this one. Second one.
yes, ma'am. Second one minus 61 minus 116.
Minus 61 plus 116. Okay. So what is the equivalent, binary equivalent for minus 61? நீங்க போட்டிருந்தீங்கன்னா just you project your screen, ஏதாவது போட்டிருந்தீங்கன்னா பாருங்க, minus 61 and minus 116. We will do this problem in the lab class. In simulator, I will execute this program step by step, okay?
Okay.
So you have to find out hexadecimal equivalent for 61 and hexadecimal equivalent for minus 116, and you have to take 2's complement of this value and add this 61, okay, and find out whether carry and overflow status. Actually, according to my calculation, your overflow flag is 0 and carry is 0. So in lab class, we will discuss the answer for all the 3 problems, okay?
Okay.
Okay. So while doing in simulator, you can understand the concepts clearly. I will show the register content step by step, okay? So next one is the I/O ports. So this is an important hardware component in 8051 architecture. So 8051 provides 4 8-bit parallel ports. So 4 8-bit parallel ports. That is P0, P1, P2 and P3. So each I/O line of the port can be configured as input or output or both by software. So Using software or using programming, we can configure these ports as input and also output. Okay. So port 0, port 1, port 2 and port 3. So in port 0, lines can be used as IO port lines. That is, it can be configured as general purpose input or output lines. Okay. Suppose when it is not used as IO, it can provide, excuse me. Suppose when external memory is connected, when 8051 is connected with external memory, when it is not port, so port 0 lines are used as multiplexed lower byte address and data bus, AD0 to AD7. So first one, it can be configured as input, that is as well as input and output. And when external memory is connected, that case it acts as a multiplexed lower byte address and data bus for external memory device. Address and data lines are multiplexed. Okay. So using ALE, we can demultiplex this address and data line. ALE is nothing but address latch enabled. Okay. So using this hardware signal, we can demultiplex the address and data line. When ALE is equal to 0 means your port 0 provides 8-bit data, that is from D0 to D7. Students, this is very important concept in 8051. Please note out the important points. Okay. So using ALE, the address, multiplexed address and data lines can be 8-bit data, that is, it will carry only data information. Okay. When ALE is equal to 1 means port 0 provides lower order address, which means A0 to A7. So use signal, the multi address and data information can be demultiplexed, okay, when the external memory is connected. Okay. So when the external memory is connected to 8051, your port 0 acts as a multiplexed lower byte address and data bus, which means it is configured as a address and data bus and these signals selection. Okay. Okay, it does not have any dual function. So this can be configured input as well as output. So general purpose IO, that is P1.0 to P1.7. Okay. And next port 2 operation very similar to your port 0. Okay. So when the external memory is connected, to access external memory, P2 lines are also used as higher order address bus, that is A8 to A50. To access external memory, it is configured, it can be configured as a address bus, that is higher order address bus. So according to the IO port structure, your port 0 holds lower order, AD0 to AD7. Port 2 holds A8 to A15. This is not multiplexed one. Only it will carry address information. So according to your 8051, okay, we can access the external memory using 16-bit address bus. So this 16-bit address bus, 8 bits are holded by P0 and your MSB will be holded by P2. That is, higher byte of address will be holded by P2. Is that clear? And next one is the port 3. So port 3 lines can be used as IO lines, and these lines are multifunctional. That is, they have special functions, okay, for accessing your internal peripherals and also external interrupts, okay. So these are the special functions of your port 3. So P3.0 can be configured as RxT line. So for serial communication, port 3.0 and 3.1 are utilized. So 1.3.1 is for transmission and 3.0 is for reception. So during that time, your 3.1 is configured as serial output port. So it can send the data from 8051 to external peripherals via this P3.1. Similarly, during the transmission, it can accept the serial inputs from external peripherals to 8051 via 3.0. And 3.2 and 3.3 is for external interrupt handling. So 3.2 is for INT 0, that is external interrupt 0. So these alternate functions are only utilized when this particular port is not configured as IO port, okay. Suppose when it is not used as IO port, they will perform some alternate function, okay. So INT 1 and 3.4 and 3.5 is for timer operations. So timer 0 external input, timer 1 external input. So in unit 2, we will study all these details in detailed way. Okay, just you know about the port 3 to 3.7 alternate function. Just you understand the 3.0 to 3.7 alternate function. And 3.6 and 3.7 is for external memory accessing. So this will generate write signal and 3.7 will generate read signal for reading data from external memory, and 3.6 will generate write control signal. This signal is used to write the data into external memory. So these are the alternate functions of your port 3. So totally we have 4 ports. Port 0 is a 8-bit read and write port. It can be configured as general purpose IO. When external memory is connected to 8051, it acts as a multiplex lower byte address bus, address and data bus, that is AD0 to AD7. Using ALE signal, these lines can be demultiplexed. When ALE is equal to 0, this it provides data information, that is D0 to D7, otherwise address information. Okay. P1 is only 8-bit read and write general purpose port. It does not have any dual function. And port 3 operation is very similar to your port 0. So when it is not used as IO port, it can be configured as high byte of address bus, that is A8 to A15. So your lower order address will be held by P0 and higher order address will be held by P2. And port 3 can be configured, and also it has additional functions to access your internal peripherals and external interrupts. Okay, so these are the alternate functions of your port 3. Okay, any clarifications? Do you have any doubts regarding this?
No, ma'am.
Okay. So next topic is memory organization. AD51 provides on-chip memory and external memory. Okay, so it provides 4K ROM. So the size is 4K internal ROM. The size of your program memory is 4K. And 128 bytes RAM, internal RAM within the chip. And also we have a provision of connecting external memory. The size is 64 KB. So 64 KB of external program and data memory. So we can interface program and data memory in the size of 64 KB. So on-chip memory, we have got 4 KB ROM memory and 128 bytes RAM memory. Okay? So your memory is divided into 2 types. One is program memory, other one is the data memory. Program memory, data memory. In program memory, we have internal and external. Internal 4 KB, external 64 KB. Similarly, here data memory, internal 128, external 64 KB. So this is the memory organization followed in 8051 architecture. Okay, so we have got 2 memory, program memory and data memory. On-chip program memory size is 4 KB. If any requirement for external memory, we can interface 64 KB of external memory with 8051. And regarding your data memory, internal on-chip data RAM is 128 bytes and external memory size 64 KB. So here we have 2 cases. So first case, so in the case of 4 KB of internal memory, the address space is from 00 to 0FFF, okay. If the address space, that is your program address 00 to FF, that is 4 KB, exceed this value. Suppose your program exceeds this value, then CPU will automatically fetch the code from the external program memory. So the program memory size is 64 KB. So if the memory addresses exceed the limit, then the instructions are fetched from external ROM in the address range from 100 to 4FF. That is 64 KB. Okay, is that clear? If your program exceeds 4 KB, your CPU automatically fetches the instruction codes from external memory, which will be connected to your 8051. So this box is the 8051. So here your internal memory is ranging from 00 to 0FFF, and here external address space is from 100 to 4FFF. Okay. So in this scenario, okay, your external access pin. So this pin is available in your 8051 IC. So for this external access pin must be pulled high. When EA pin is high, okay, when EA pin is high means CPU first fetches the instruction from internal program memory. When EA pin is high means it will fetch the instructions from internal program memory in the range of 000 to 0FF. If it is exceeded, it can fetches the instruction bytes from external memory. So this is the concept. So the internal and external memory accessing is completely based on this pin, EA pin. Please note it down. This pin is the external access pin. Okay. So when EA is connected to high, so first your processor fetches the instruction code from internal memory. When the code is exceeded, it fetches the instruction codes from external memory. Okay. So think of the second scenario. Okay. So completely ignore the internal memory. Suppose if the internal memory is completely ignored, that case your will fetch all the instructions from external memory. So the address range 000 to FF. So for this scenario, EA pin must be connected to ground. So this should be connected to ground. In this case, the memory address of external ROM will be from 000 to FFF, 4F. Okay. Is that clear? So the external and internal memory selection can be done by using EA. When EA is 1, your code will be available in both internal memory and external memory. When EA is equal to 0, your code will be available in external memory only. Is that clear, students? Any doubts regarding this? So we can place the code either in the internal memory and external memory. So based on the code placement, we make that EA pin, hardware pin. When EA pin is equal to high means your processor first initially fetches the instruction codes from internal memory. If the code is exceeded, it will fetches the instruction code from external memory. So when EA is connected to 1, the processor can access the instruction code either from internal or external. But in case of EA is connected to 0 means your code will be available in external memory. So your CPU will fetches the instruction codes from external memory only, not internal memory. In this scenario, your internal memory is completely ignored. Is that clear?
Yes, ma'am.
What about other students? Students, please interact. Any other doubts regarding this? So your port, IO port hardware structure and memory organization completed. Next, we will see about internal RAM. So what is the size of internal RAM? What is the size of internal RAM?
128 KB.
I have told, no, I have mentioned here, no, what is the answer? 128 bytes, okay? Internal ROM is 4 KB, okay? So this is the on-chip memory internal RAM. So almost all modern variants of 8051 have 256 bytes of RAM. Generally 256. So that is divided into 128 bytes and 128 bytes. That is lower 120 bytes addresses from 00 to 7M. Okay. And there is additional 128 bytes of RAM which share memory addresses, that is for special function register from 80 to F. According to your 8051 utilizes this special function register RAM memory locations only, not this indirect addressing. So mainly all the 8051 variants comes with this 128 bytes RAM, internal RAM. So this internal RAM is divided into 3 blocks. One is the register bank, general purpose register, and another block is the bit addressable memory, and third one is the scratch pad memory. So your 128 byte internal RAM is divided into 3 blocks. One is the register bank, okay, from 00 to 1F. And next 20 to 12 bit addressable area, that is bit addressable memory. And third one is the scratch pad memory. This is for general purpose applications. So here we can access the memory location either direct addressing or indirect addressing. But in case of your upper 128 bytes, we can access the memory locations only through direct addressing. Indirect addressing cannot apply in case of special function register. We have to specify the direct address of individual registers in the instruction. Here indirect addressing is possible. Okay. So this is your registers. So this is the complete block, that is 00 to 1F for your register banks, and 22F for bit addressable location, and 30 to 7F for general purpose. Okay, and this take 32 bytes, and this takes 16 bytes, and this is 80 bytes. So totally how many bytes? 80 plus 16 plus 32. So totally 128 bytes. So we will see one by one. First, register bank. Actually, 8051 has 4 register banks. Okay, 4 register banks of 8 registers from R. So I have mentioned already. So we have 4 register banks: bank 0, bank 1, bank 2, and bank 3. Okay, and each bank consists of 8 8-bit registers. Okay, so 8 8-bit registers. So 8 into 4 banks. So totally it occupies 32 bytes. So your default register bank is bank 0. And every bank, that is every register, is associated with one 8-bit address. So these registers can be accessed either by name or address. For example, you can represent move A, R0. Otherwise, you can represent move A, 00. 00 means the internal address of this R0. So the purpose of move instruction, just copy the data from register, that is source register, to the destination register. Okay, move A, R0 and move A, 00. Both the instructions are same. So these registers can be accessed either by address or register name. Okay, and these banks can be selected by using your PSW second bit and third bit. So your register banks are selected using 2 bits, RS1 and RS0 in the PSW. 00 means your bank 0 selected, 01 bank 1, 10 bank 2, 11 bank. So that's all about your registered banks. So it occupies 32 bytes. Bank 0, bank 1, bank 2, bank 3, 4 register banks, and each bank consists of 8 8-bit registers. So 8 into 4, totally 32 bytes. Okay. So any doubts? So next one is it. Yes.
Ma'am, sorry, ma'am. Could you please explain this slide alone, ma'am? I lost connection.
Okay, I will explain. See, your 128 bytes is divided into 3 area. Okay. One is the register bank. Okay, from 00 to 1F. Okay, and bit addressable range. So this takes 16 bytes of addressable memory. And third one is the general purpose RAM. Okay, 30 to 7F. So this one takes 80 bytes of addressable memory. When adding these 3, your memory size is 128 bytes. Okay. So this is the elaborate register bank arrangement, that is bank 0, bank 1, bank 2, and bank 3. So each bank we have 8 registers. So the size of the register is 8-bit. Okay. So every register is associated with one 8-bit address. For R0, 00, R7, 07. Okay. Suppose in case of bank 1, so this is your register 0 and this will be your register 7. So the address is 0807. Likewise, so every register is associated with one 8-bit address. So These registers can be accessed either by name or address in the instruction. So we can specify either register name or internal address in the instruction. So in this example, move A, R0, which means this instruction is used to copy the 8-bit data from R0 to accumulator. And this R0 can be represented by internal address. So this is the one way of representation. That is move A, 00. 00 is nothing but internal address of 8-bit address of your R0. So both the instructions are same only. Either we can mention register name or internal RAM address. So that is possible in case of your internal RAM memory. So every register is associated with one address. So your default bank selection is bank 0, and remaining banks can be selected by using this PSW. Bank 0 selected, 01 bank 1, 102, 113. Okay. So totally it occupies 32 bytes of addressable memory. Is that clear now?
Yes, ma'am.
Okay. So any other doubts? Students? Any other doubts, ma'am? So next one is the bit addressable RAM. So previously we have seen byte addressable. That is, this part is the byte addressable. So every register has byte address only, not individual bit address. Okay. So this is the byte address area, sorry, bit address area. And T2F are bit addressable and also byte addressable. So look at this block, that is blue color highlighted box. So every bit has one address, 8-bit address, and also the complete block has one 8-bit address. So this block can be represented by 20, can be addressed by 20, and individual bits can be addressed by 8 bits. Okay. For example, so look at this diagram. This is 1A. So byte address is 23. Okay. So 1A is the bit 2 of, this is your bit 0, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8 bits. Okay. So each row consisting of 8 bits. So this is the bit 2 of your internal RAM location 23. So in this way, we can access the individual bits in this area. So every bit is associated with one 8-bit address. So that is the meaning. So every bit is associated with one 8-bit address, and also this entire 8-bit is addressed by one 8-bit address 20. Okay. So here 1A is the bit 2 of your internal RAM location 23. Okay. So in earlier microcontrollers or microprocessor, only byte addressable is, that is byte accessing is allowed. Suppose in case of port 0 means only we can access entire port structure. Only 8-bit data at a time we can access only 8-bit data from the port. But using this bit addressable area, we can access individual port bits. 0.0 can be accessed. 0.1 can be accessed. In this way, individual port pins can be accessed. Similarly, using this bit addressable area, we can transfer the information to carry. So this instruction is not a byte data transfer instruction. It's a bit data transfer instruction. So 1A, it can hold either 0 or 1. It is a bit. So in the bit either it can have 0 or 1. That 0 or 1 can be transferred to carry flag. Similarly, this 1A can be represented as 23.2 to carry. Clear?
Yes, ma'am.
Individual bits can be accessed. So that is the main objective of this bit addressable memory. So look at this diagram. So this is just one example, okay? So the instruction here is set bit 42, okay? Set bit 42 means, so this is the location. That is D2 of 28th bit. So please look at here. So D2 of which one? Byte address is 28. D2 of 28. So using this instruction, we can set this as 1. 42 is equal to 1. So D2 of RAM location 28. Similarly, clear 67 means D7th bit of 2C. So this bit can be cleared by using this instruction. Clear 0F. Where is 0F? So this is the 0F. So 0F is the D7 of RAM location 21. So in this way, individual bits can be accessed by using 8051 instructions. That's all. So the entire 128 is divided into general purpose register, bit addressable, and this is 32/7 is the scratch pad memory. So it's mainly for general purpose applications. These locations can be read or written at any time for any purpose. So 80 bytes are allocated for this particular memory. So 128 is divided into 32 bytes for general purpose and 16 bytes for bit addressable RAM and 80 bytes for your scratch pad memory. So here 20 to 2F bit addressable area. How many locations are there? 16 locations. Each location size is 8 bits. So 16 into 8, totally we have 128 bits or 16 bytes. So next class we will see about the special function registers. Okay. So have you all downloaded your 8051 MCU IDE?
Yes, ma'am.
Yes. So have you faced any difficulty during the installation? So be ready with your simulator, okay? Install your simulator in your laptop. So students, those who don't have laptop, just you install Android app, which I have forwarded in the WhatsApp group. Just you install your Android app in your mobile phones, okay? Okay, thank you. Thank you, students.